Book Notes for Introduction to Elementary Particle Physics by David Griffiths. This is a good introductory text. It's got some nice pages, and I got this one, added it to my collection, Tanis Leonhardi, November/December 2014. And I'm filming this almost a little under a decade later on Saturday, 12 October 2024. I am Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. I'm Tanis Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle, of Norway, of the United States of America. And I'm going to go through my book notes for, this is an informational book on elementary particle physics, Introduction to Elementary Particle Physics by David Griffiths, second revised edition, 2008, Wiley-VCH Verlag GmbH Co, KGaA, paperback, ISBN in the video description. And so I bought this because I was really interested in particle physics and I wanted to have something where I could just learn a little bit. And this did suffice. And I actually got it, and I went and I presented at the American Geophysical Union conference in 2014 in December in San Francisco. And I had been living in Hawaii at the time. And I took this as reading material. And let's see what happened. I ended up having to check my bag, and and I had like, and so I had my carry-on, and I was like one of the last people on the plane, and I had to check the bag, and this was I had like a backpack, and they were like, we don't have enough space on the plane for this, we're gonna need to put it in checked baggage. So they're like, is there anything you need to grab from your bag? And you know, there's the like my research stuff and like the stuff for the conference and clothes and all that in the bag, and this is what I grabbed. Okay, and I was presenting on in the realm of volcanology, so it's like one of those things where I was just like, I'm taking this, all right? And so I took this, and I got on the plane, and I put it in my hand, and I put it in my arm like this, and I was walking down the aisle, and then I got stopped at one point, and there was like two ladies on the side, and one was like one of those really bougie, stuck up, hair done up, nails, some expensive Patagonia or Columbia thing, and she was like, that's a bit much. So I was like, well, you don't need to see what I'm working on, do you? But I didn't actually interact with her. So yeah, that's a little bit about this one. So yeah, I love you, Dad. See ya, I love you. My dad's off to make breakfast at church today. It is a Saturday, yes. And so there we go. That's a little bit of the introduction. It's a near and dear to me book that I picked for myself to go through, and I actually enjoyed it. It's well done. The book notes. So it is a mixture of, so this section's on weak interactions. It has a combination of text, diagrams, and equations. And so there are different ways of, like, if people are having difficulty with conceptualization, different types of diagrams have been created to aid in the understanding, or at least attempt to aid. Right? There's also the occasional table, but there's not necessarily a lot of occasional tables. There are footnotes, and there are exercises. So like at the end of the chapter, there's exercises you can do, and then there's also footnotes throughout the book. They are, let's see, there's the chapter, so the page numbers are at the top, chapters, and then subsections. Think of it as a chapter as a section, then there's subsections. Let's see. There's matrices and arrays and vectors. But we're not gonna. There's at least one photograph. I'm not gonna show. And then there's like, well, there are certain types of, like, lepton classification table or quark classification table. And now lepton is the name of my car. Let's see, I have very few handwritten notes in here. But yeah, other thing, pages are different than a lot of the books I've done thus far. The pages are like, there's like the super shiny material that a lot of pictures go on, and this is like, let's see, I can like see if there's like reflecting light. It's kind of shiny, but it's like closer to the thickness and bendiness of a non-shiny page. So the pages are different. I like the chapter topics. It really is meant to draw the reader in. Like chapters 4 is about cemeteries, that kind of stuff. So thinking through like programming stuff, and like if I do my PhD in physics in Italy, and just thinking of not burning out on writing code for physics itself, especially if it's particle physics or condensed matter physics or whatever type of physics. So I was thinking of the Sacred Saturdays. This is like thinking, getting back into coding. Maybe write a Nancy Drew computer game inspired code, C++, to share on my second channel. Figure out how to publish it / make it available, as well as a YouTube video. So like, think of, okay, I could be like, here's what you can do, but if some people learn better, like the audio transmission, as well as like do you have a website? Does the school have a web page for you? Like, how does that work? If we wanted to get it, would you have to publish it? But I don't know how that works with codes. So yeah, figuring something like that out if people wanted video / audio, but then also like it in text form. So is that print? Is that online? Is that both? That kind of thing. So that was kind of inspired by this. So I learned that a lot of the coding in physics, at least at that point in time when I was in undergrad, was still in C and C++ for like the experimental work. So yeah, it's more of a basic technical coding / programming language. So for me, that's related then to the particle physics thing. In conclusion, I like it. I have it. This is one of the 2 books that I said I'd present that's like an example of something to read for group meetings throughout a semester. It is over 400 pages. It is 454 pages. So it might be the kind of one of, don't be sunk down by equations. It's about getting an introduction to just the topic, and like, were we able to understand this well enough to be like, this is what a weak interaction is, or this is how the person classifies weak interactions, right? So there we go. It's kind of a don't get too sucked in to the point you can't get back out kind of thing. So this is my book notes for Introduction to Elementary Particle Physics by David Griffiths.